we've seen these guys a billion times, but when you think about the Knights, what challenges do they provide?
Well, they're pretty deep, and I would say they're a big team. And I would say they're a veteran team. So they got a lot of good elements. And obviously a team that's won the cup not too long ago, so they have that pedigree as well. So they're a tough opponent, no question. I thought all 3 games have been pretty well played against them, even though we beat them twice, I guess you would say. But those games were all very, very close. And so I've liked how we played them, so it should be a good one tonight.
Going to last night, same lineup for you guys in this one, maybe minus the goalie?
Yeah, same lineup. David will start.
Talked about Turk specifically last night, noticing his speed, and his energy. Do you think that might come down to like a little bit of a relaxation, knowing, hey, maybe I don't have to play the role that I did earlier, or maybe even like a chip on the shoulder saying like, hey, I want to be back in that role, or somewhere in between?
Yeah, I would agree with that. As much as we say try not to put too much pressure on yourself, you naturally do when you're playing that high up the lineup, and he's done it for a long time. So I think it's probably just a breath of fresh air, less pressure, just go out there and get skating. And the other element that's really difficult is when you're playing against the other team's top checking forwards or top checking defensemen. That is a difficult task too, and he's seen a lot of that because Kopi and Juice get a lot of that. So, you're playing against the other team down the lineup as well, and so you're able to maybe get a little more time and space on the forecheck and to move versus some of those checking lines and checking defensemen.
In your power play last night, small sample size, but is there anything that you liked what you saw, or maybe?
Yeah, well, I thought we were dangerous low for the first time maybe all year, and so that was a real positive. I mean, it's Kuzi's first game, but clearly he brings us an element down there that we haven't had for a while. So, we didn't score. Juice had a good look as he's had probably in a couple months. So it's a work in progress still, but I think we're going to get some energy out of that group.
How can that be good for a player like Adrian? Especially when you're playing maybe not a set system for the power play, but adding that dose of creativity from another player to a really other creative player. I don't know how can that really maybe showcase some of their good improvisation.
Yeah, well, I think and Kuzi's a veteran player and played that spot a lot. So, you just trust that if he gets it, and the pass isn't there directly, like we saw on the one, he went behind his back. So, I know Juice, he's coming down the backside and he's thinking, you got to get me this pass. And his mind's going, the only way he can get it to me is if he goes behind his back. So I got to move down a little bit further. So he's reading off that, understanding that there's a guy who can make that play, who has that high-level hockey IQ and has done that enough times that he's thinking along the same lines.
In the game tonight, what are you looking for from your team early on?
Oh, well, this is a tough building to start. So we just want to start and make sure we are, not turning any pucks over and making sure that if they're coming through our numbers and that we're not giving them anything early to feel good about. That to me is the most important part of the game, to get us out of the gate, and then then you get going playing some hockey. But we want to give ourselves a chance to keep the building out of it early.
Overall, solid defensive effort last night.
One of the best we had in a long time. Yeah.
Just more to the defense pairs. I know it's only one game with, kind of, I think what everyone expected it to be. How would it look?
It was all right. I think. And I know the question is about the defense pairs, but I think when you think about defense just generally, you guys probably noticed our forwards were coming back. What we've done most of the year pretty well is to help our defense by having not one, not two, all 3 forwards coming back hard through the neutral zone, allowing them to stand up. If they do get in, we're stopped, they've got cover. So I think that's the most important part. I think the defense pairings almost irrelevant if the forwards are coming back. Now, having said that, I thought Drew had one of his better games. Happened to be back with Mikey full time, so we'll keep an eye on that. And then, Clarkie, Eddie, Spenny, Gabby, they didn't play a ton, those 2 younger D, but they did a fine job when they were called upon.